Since King's, I really value people who are able to challenge me in what I believe and in how I view the world.
You don't leave the school feeling the sense of entitlement that you have a right to do whatever you want to do.
The King's education is very forward-thinking.
In the last couple of years, the teachers are very good at reminding you, work out what you're going to do with your life and make sure it's something worthwhile and good.
When you think about a school, obviously you mainly think about education or even activities, but actually it's the people and the person it makes you. That's what I would credit most with King's.
For the last 15 years, I've been working at UNICEF, developing programs and communication tools that can help communities make better choices in terms of health and well-being out here in Uganda. Going to King's was definitely a privilege. And so it was always ingrained in me that with this privilege does come responsibility. It's sort of a cliche, but it's really true. My recollection of time at King's was like there was very little downtime. We're always doing something. If you're in sports, if you're in music, class time. But I do think that it does prepare you to be able to then go outside of the King's environment, knowing that you need to be able to do many things at once. And UNICEF work requires you to be fast, it requires you to act, it requires you to move, it requires you to multitask. And I don't think that that's something I would have been able to just do if I hadn't had the foundational stepping stones towards that from King's.
When I'd left university, I'd tried 2 different careers, one as a journalist, one as a banker. I wasn't very happy with either of them, but personal tutoring was the one thing I'd done which was long-term I was very happy with. So Cavendish Milton was the company I founded to kind of do my own personal tutoring, and over a period it's grown and grown and grown into its own independent tutoring agency, and now we work with about 30 tutors, dealing with about 300 students. The main advantage that I got from King's was access to one-to-one learning. That was incredibly valuable, and it's where almost all the learning that I remember to this day, and the lessons which now when I'm teaching I replicate with my students, I will draw from what I was taught then, and lots of the skills that I use today in day-to-day life are skills I practiced at King's.
My name's Seb. Geographically right now I am in Shanghai, but in the past couple of years I've been all over. Right now I'm working in an architecture firm, and the work I do is like glass and steel, big skyscrapers type of stuff. King's, especially boarding at King's, really opens you up. You really get to know the people you live with and you study with. I really flourished in that environment. You end up making some of the best friends you make in life, at least so far. King's did really well in preparing me to be adaptable, in the sense that King's prepared me to want to explore new things. A big part of my love with architecture is this ability to create a better future world. That really comes from King's.
I am a lawyer. At King's education, what I feel like one of the qualities is just resilience. You are obviously enclosed in the walls of Canterbury Cathedral, and it's absolutely incredible, but I think your eyes are wide open to the rest of the world. And it is steeped in history, which is absolutely incredible day-to-day walking through. You think, goodness, what a special place. But it doesn't mean that the education is ancient or old. I think actually, as a school, it is incredibly forward-thinking. I think I probably was overly confident when I went to King's. I had the potential to become someone else. And I think that my King's education brought out my best qualities and my best aspects of my character.
Today we're in the Brecon Beacons in the south of Wales, and we are running an expedition medicine training course. So it's myself, a couple of other doctors who have an interest in medicine in remote places, and we are training medical students on how to deliver care in remote settings. The narrative of medicine is that you go through medical school and you spend several years specialising, and that's what you do for the rest of your life. But I think because of the way King's has brought me up, I think that's definitely given me more confidence and more willingness to explore other avenues that are available. You realise how lucky you are being in such a beautiful school as King's, the opportunities you have. And I think the result of that is that when you come out of school and you graduate from university, there's actually a deep sense of wanting to give back. People's values are shifting away from I want to earn as much money as I can, and more to how can I give back, how can we look after the planet in the best way we can, how can we ensure that we remain close to our personal relationships. And I think King's definitely gives you a strong sense of that when you're growing up as well. It teaches you things like that.
with nothing underneath is a company that sells shirts to women. I started off my career in magazines and in the fashion industry, and I realized there was a big gap in the market. There's a huge amount of shirts for men out there and not that many for women. We want to make shirts, we want to make the best shirts possible, but we also want to be doing something worthwhile while we make those shirts. So there's a lot of emphasis on responsibility. Responsibility to be making a good piece of clothing and responsibility to be giving back with the profits we make. I didn't have any contacts to get into the fashion industry. I interned and I made sure I worked extremely hard, but you can't deny that your background is going to help that. And something like the school I went to, with all the extras I got given, the photography, the art classes, everything that King's offers, the way you live in a community lifestyle with boarding, you've got to think about others, you can't be selfish. King's made me the person I am. I think all my girlfriends would say the same thing. All my King's friends would say that King's made them who they are.
King's education is an incredibly broad one. I think it's not just focused on the academics.
They encourage you to develop a sense of independence and leadership as well.
For me, the King's experience and the King's education got me on that path to competencies and skill sets.
King's has been a huge part of making me the person I am today and helping me to have the skills I need to run a business.
King's really helps nurture parts of you that you want to grow.
If you have a passion for something, or you do think that something's not for you, don't be too afraid to break out of the mold, I think. What's the worst that can happen?